Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated. I'm your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, sensuality consultant and life coach. So, how many of you are using Vaseline as a lubricant? Well, I'm here to tell you Vaseline is not a lubricant. And if you use it in your most sensitive areas, it can clog up the works, cause you all kinds of difficulties, including not allowing the vagina itself to clean itself out properly. So bacteria build up, everything else. If you're going to use a lubricant, it's a good idea to use a good quality one. Now, in this country, we haven't really talked about lubricants very much because it's kind of embarrassing. So, one of the big products that has made its name as a lubricant is KY jelly. Well, I'm here to tell you KY jelly is not a lubricant. It was originally invented to be used on a speculum during an OBGYN appointment when a doctor would put the speculum up into the woman so that they could do a PAPS test and take a little something from the top of the vagina. And, the speculum would just slide in because it had this KY jelly on it, which, to give it its credit, it did wash out of the vagina. But there was no friction. There was no heat created by that speculum. There was no real challenge to it lasting as any kind of a lubricant. And the fact is that if you use KY jelly as a lubricant, it gets tacky, sticky, nasty, it tastes bad. There's so many negatives on using KY jelly. So it's not a lubricant. Don't use it as such. And then Vaseline too. Vaseline might have a lot of staying power, and you might think, wow, this stuff really lasts a long time. Except it's not meant for the most sensitive area of a woman's body, which is her vagina. A petroleum-based product found at the bottom of petroleum products, and that's what Vaseline is. And so if you think that's safe for your vagina, you've been brainwashed because it's not safe. It really isn't. And you should absolutely not put it on your vagina or in your vagina. There's a lot of products out there, especially the ones that are advertised on television, that are not safe for regular use. And that's because the people that are inventing these products think that more is better. More is not necessarily better. I know there's this one product out there, it gets very, very hot, his and hers, that sort of thing. It's supposed to be a lubricant. That stuff will burn your stuff up. It is not comfortable. It is scary. If you're going to get a good lubricant, go to an adult bookstore and find a good lubricant. Go to Amazon and find a good lubricant. Now, there are several different kinds. One that is specific for anal play is an anal lubricant. You can't just use any lubricant for anal play. Now, what makes it an anal lubricant? Number one, it's considerably thicker. Number two, it actually has a flavor to it in case any of that's going to be happening. And number three, many of them have a mild desensitizing action to them so that it won't hurt so much if you are tense. I mean, of course, there's a whole process to relaxing the anal sphincter and to practicing anal sex. We're not getting into that tonight. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But the bottom line is that this particular kind of lubricant, and there are several different kinds on the market, has a mild desensitizer to it so that you feel a little bit more secure that it's not going to be as intense. Now, another big push out there in the land of erotica is silicone lubricants. Now, what's the thing about silicone lubricants? It's that they last forever. They will last and last and last, and you can use them in the shower, and you can use them with vibrators, and you can use them for intercourse. but they last forever. They take a long, long time to wash out of your system. So unless you want this artificial silicone lining your vaginal walls for weeks, you need to consider or reconsider where you're going to put that lube. Now, of course, if you're using it for clitoral stimulation and you're using a vibrator and it's external, okay, no problem. But if you're using it internally, I would give it a second thought, because that's the reason that it can be dangerous. And also, it cannot be used, should not be used on any silicone vibrator. If you use silicone lubricant on a silicone vibrator, you will destroy that material. And your very expensive vibrator will be a piece of garbage after one use. One use with that silicone lubricant will put your toy to rest, no more. So there's where, if you want a little bit of a silicone base because you want that long lasting, but you also don't want to destroy your toy, there are many different hybrid silicone water-based lubricants out there. I like this one by Wicked, but there are many, many different kinds out there. Then the most popular is water-based. For the longest time, my favorite was Sliquid, Sliquid. Sliquid is long-lasting. It feels and tastes just like a woman's natural lubrication. It just lasts 10 times longer. Who should use a lubricant? Well, in the beginning, 20-year-olds have so much lubrication working naturally that they don't think they really need a lubricant. But I would say that if you're going to use a vibrator, lubrication is going to make that vibrator work so much better. Most women don't use the vibrator inside of them initially. They use it externally because that's where most women have their orgasms, on the clitoris. And you cannot borrow natural moisture and lubrication from your insides, bring it to the outside of your body, put vibration, which creates friction, which creates heat, up against the outside of your body, and not think that your natural lubrication isn't going to dry up. So every single time a woman has ever said to me, I've tried a vibrator and I didn't like it, I asked her, did you use lubricant? And they said no, because they were in their 20s and they think they have so much lubricant. No, your body's natural lubrication cannot stand up to technology and a vibration of a vibrator. So if you're going to use a vibrator, make sure you use a lubricant. Again, I would recommend water-based lubricant, because that's the kind of lubricant that is going to last for a long time. Now, 30-year-olds, again, they also, 30 up to say 45 or so, they also have pretty much enough lubrication, unless you're taking medication. If you're taking medications, they can definitely interfere with the amount of natural lubrication that you make. So if you want your sex life to be comfortable, have a bottle of lubricant handy, whether it's for masturbation, use with toys, use with a lover, whatever the situation, lubrication is going to make the slide and glide considerably more comfortable for both of you. And you don't need to use too much. A little bit goes a long way. And I got to tell you, I've seen it happen more times than I care to remember, but spit is not a lubricant. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a guy go, that's not going to happen. That's not going to last. That's the same kind of craziness as thinking that a woman's natural lubrication can last on the outside of her body. Spit is not a lubricant. So don't use it as such, okay? Keep it to kissing and that sort of thing. But, keep it off of the vagina, because unhealthy, not good, nasty, dirty. You have no idea how many germs are in your mouth, okay? And then who else could use a little lubricant? Women over 50. Absolutely. You're hitting those menopausal years. You're not making as much lubricant as you did in your 20s and 30s. every time you make love, whether you make love with a partner or whether you're using a vibrator, or even if you're going to masturbate and just use your hand, lubrication is going to make everything work so much better for you. Don't be afraid of it. There are many excellent products out there on the market. Defense has extra antibacterials in it in case you have more than one partner and you want to make sure that everything is on the up and up as far as killing off any harmful bacteria. Sliquid is the lubricant that's water-based, long-lasting, and phenomenal. And by Wicked, hybrid lubricant of water-based and silicone. Lubrication is key to keeping things comfortable, and there's no harm in using it. But get a good quality one, and do not go for the stuff that's advertised on television, because 99.9% of that stuff is over the top, and they are not making it with your pleasure in mind. They're making it sound like it's so great when it's actually pretty harmful. Anyway, I hope that this has given you a little bit of insight on why lubrication is a great idea. Please join me again next week for another episode of Your Pleasure. In the meantime, keep doing your Kegel exercises. And if you like this programming, please recommend it to your friends. Subscribe, like, and let everybody know that we're talking about creative, sexual, sensual expression and keeping us as human and as healthy as possible through our sexual relations. Thank you so much for joining me this week. See you next week. Bye for now.